Enjoy a list.
It's Radio from Hell with another list, because people love a good list. X96.
All right. This is from Variety Magazine, Showbiz Magazine.
Yes.
The business of show. And they've released the top 100 horror movies of all time.
100.
And I'm not going to go through all 100.
Right, with 20 maybe?
You want to start with 20 or the top 15 or
15, 20,
right.
Either.
Let's start with Unlucky 13. How about that?
All right, it's a good idea.
Number 13, Silence of the Lambs.
Really?
Okay.
Not further up, huh? Okay.
No, 13.
The late, great Hannibal Lecter. Hannibal Lecter, not the serial killer the feds are seeking in this movie. That would go to Ted Levine's Buffalo Bill.
Yeah.
Oscar-winning movie.
But yeah, I mean, just Anthony Hopkins in this is just amazing.
How many horror movies get Oscar awards?
Not many.
I mean, all right.
Not many. Number 12, the original King Kong, 1933.
Sure. I remember the first time I saw it as a very young kid, and was just I don't know if I was really terribly scared. I was just blown away.
Yeah,
just like, whoa.
I'm a 70s King Kong girl.
Oh God, that was the horrible one.
Jeff Bridges and Jessica Lange.
yes, but it did introduce us to Jessica Lange.
Not a good version though.
Guy in a suit, by the way, just so you know.
Yep.
I mean, some of it was robot.
Yeah.
But, guy in a suit mostly. Number 11, Alien, the original, 1979.
Sure. Yep.
Which is a haunted house movie. It really is.
Yeah.
Number 10, from 1976, Carrie.
Yeah.
Pure fairy tale horror bliss, it says here.
Yep.
Let's see.
It's the first book Stephen King ever wrote.
And
Is it?
it's, let's see, Sissy Spacek's Carrie, the cringing high school wallflower who suffers a sort of scene-to-scene PTSD at the hands of her raging fundamentalist mother, not to mention the mean girls at school. So touching in her freckled geek vulnerability that Spacek's performance is transporting.
And John Travolta's in it.
What she and Piper Laurie as the psycho mama play out is nothing less than the glass menagerie with dirty pillows and flying knives.
Yeah, he was writing it as a serial for a magazine, and he didn't like it, and he threw it in the trash, and his wife pulled it out of the trash and read it, and she said, like, he hadn't finished it, he just started it and went, eh. His wife pulled it out of the trash. She's like, this is good, you should finish this.
Number 9, I've not heard of. Sallow, or the 120 Days of Sodom from 1975.
How do you spell that?
S-A-L-O, and it's got a line over it. At the top of the O. 120 Days of Sodom from 75. Even sight unseen, no film in the history of cinema intimidates audiences more than Italian agit poet Pier Paolo Pasolini's final attack on decadent society.
Yeah.
A scathing rebuke of both fascism and neo-capitalism. Pasolini's obscene art house endurance test mirrors a Marquis de Sade's most controversial work. As 16 nubile innocents are rounded up and subjected to unspeakable degradation, from graphic mutilation to a demented... Oh, I'm not going to say that.
No.
So there you go. Number 8, 1931, the original Frankenstein. Not our favorite Frankenstein movie, though.
No, Bride of Frankenstein
Let's see if Bride is on this list.
I bet it
is a better movie.
I bet it is.
Number 7, Audition from 1999. Another one I've not heard of. It's no secret that a great many horror films are rooted in the depiction of male rage against women. You don't see the reverse too often, but it would be no exaggeration to say that Takashi Miike's ultra-violent thriller is the Citizen Kane of visionary, sadistic, feminist revenge fantasies.
Jeez.
The film lures us in with restrained cunning as it conjures a sympathy for Ryo Ishibashi, a widower whose movie-produced friend arranges a mock casting audition for him so that he can find a new wife. He meets Asami and thinks he's found the ideal mate, but don't judge her by her cover. Asami is a warped victim whose mission is to put men through the tortures of the damned. Number 6, Night of the Living Dead, the original, 1968. which is not only a great horror movie, but a wonderful social commentary. By casting black actor Dwayne Jones in the lead, Romero gave audiences additional social commentary to read into the film, born at the time of racial tensions and civil unrest.
As I recall, it opens in a cemetery, which I think is
They're
cool.
coming to get you, Barbara. I have an action figure of that first zombie that we see in Night of the Living Dead. Number 5, 1968, Rosemary's Baby.
Yep.
I read the book
Yep.
before I saw the movie, and I was just a high school kid. And I remember starting to read it in the afternoon, and I stayed up all night reading.
It's not a long book.
Yeah, it wasn't hard to do.
No, I mean, I'm not demeaning your read. I'm just saying, you said I stayed up all night. It's actually a really
I know.
short book.
I was a slow reader.
Mia Farrow in a Vidal Sassoon haircut,
Yeah.
become a ghoulish form of death camp chic, gives a memorable performance as Rosemary, the innocent wife of an ambitious stage actor who makes a deal with the cult of the devil worshippers next door, like you do. They summon Satan to make Rosemary pregnant, and he'll get the career he wants.
Her husband, played by John Cassavetes.
Yes.
And what's the old lady's name?
Ruth Gordon.
Yeah.
Ruth Gordon. Man.
Number 4, closing in, Jaws, 1975. Not just a good horror movie, but just a damn good movie.
It sort of doesn't seem like a horror movie to me.
It's scary.
It is scary.
Sure, it seems like
scary.
it's a thrilling adventure movie, but you know, you can classify it.
But one of my favorites. Another one of my favorites at number 3, Psycho, the original, 1960, which tricked you. You thought that your leading lady was this person when it was actually this other person.
It wasn't. It was Vera Miles. It wasn't. What's her name's mother?
Let's see.
Janet Leigh.
Janet Leigh, thank you.
It wasn't Janet Leigh. It was Vera Miles.
Let's see. Hitchcock took his TV crew and made a trapdoor gothic mystery of primal terror that invites us to watch ourselves watching it. In the film's famous scene, 78 shots of agonizingly protracted living death, he pulled the plastic shower curtain out from under us so profoundly.
And then right at the end, when you of that scene, when you see the water circling down the drain with the blood in it,
Yeah.
and it's black and white.
Well, it's Hershey's chocolate syrup that they used
Yeah.
for the blood. Number 2. Any guesses?
Have we done Exorcist yet?
Exorcist is number 2
Okay.
from 1973.
He's scary.
Let's see. Friedkin's reportedly faint-inducing classic remains so compelling because everyone involved commits to the realism of demonic possession. As Linda Blair's Reagan slides even deeper toward the dark side. Ellen Burstyn channels the parental panic of not knowing what's wrong. Ellen Burstyn's really good at this.
Oh yeah. The power of Christ compels you.
And finally, any guesses for number 1?
What haven't we said yet?
The Thing. No. I don't
I'm
know.
sure it's on the list. I'm
Yeah,
sure it's further
somewhere.
down. But
I don't know.
Katie, any guess? You're the horror expert here. No? Okay. 1974's Texas Chainsaw Massacre.
Yeah.
Well, that,
We haven't.
number one.
My wife was listening to a podcast about this movie. The people that do the podcast love this movie so much.
You know, I've never seen it.
Really?
It's
I know, Katie.
it's so good because it's part of it is that the guy, the killer, is in some ways pathetic. I mean, just I don't know how to explain.
Well,
it.
and that's what they were talking about on this podcast, was that he is, he is the product of his environment,
Yeah.
and his environment was screwed up, and,
Yeah, I mean, it's just awful.
The film's central image is that of a mentally arrested mute Hulk named Leatherface who wears a mask of human skin and wields a power tool that metes out torture and death in equal measure. He's the granddaddy of the slasher genre's mass killers.
And there's really not a lot of gore in this
There
movie.
really isn't.
It seems like there should be, but there is not a lot of gore in
It's
it.
it's mostly suggested. I mean, the scene that parents were outraged about was when Leatherface picks up the girl and puts her on a meat hook. You never
But you don't see
never
it.
see that.
Your mind fills it in.
Your mind fills it
Yeah.
in, and there's a wonderful sound effect that makes
Yeah.
you think that
Yeah.
it happens, but it doesn't happen.
Yeah.
So anyway, there you go. Some horror movies for your Halloween.
We hope you'd enjoyed another list with Radio from Hell on X96.